The funding for this video is provided by the amazing members of our Patreon. Also contributions from viewers like you. Thank you. Yeah, I started from PBS Kids. What you gonna do? Fight me? Anyway, roll the video. This is gonna be funny, okay?
That is funny.
Like what Nene Leak said, that is funny, okay? Hey y'all, it's Harriyanna and I'm back with another video. Hi, hello, how are you doing? My name is Harriyanna and welcome back to the pirate ship, also known as Harry Hook's pirate ship. I am the captain. You are not my first mate. I don't got no first mate because you want to know why? I don't feel like getting all the way up to the camera to tell y'all the secret. So y'all better hear me whisper it from here. Nobody is worthy of being the first mate. Hi, hello. My name is Harriyanna and I like to make content based off nostalgia and family and children's entertainment and all the issues that I find within those spaces. So today I want to get on here and do one of my little laid back videos where I ask you guys to send me in your unpopular opinions about a certain thing and I will react to them. Now this is how we do these videos. I will either make a post on here. I think I'm just gonna start just doing community posts on YouTube because that's where the audience is, like literally the YouTube channel. Y'all are the ones that watch it. But I make a post saying send me your unpopular opinions about blank and I will make a video of me reacting to them. So the topic for today is the Boondocks. I said to send in your unpopular opinions about the Boondocks and I will react to them, and you guys sent in over 50 responses, so I'm gonna go through them right now and let's see how this goes. Okay, very nervous because so many people feel so differently about this series and I'm just like, okay, let's see. I'm trying to figure out, do I want my, you know what, hold on, I'm annoyed because I want y'all to see my necklaces because my necklaces are a part of me. They're a part of me, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Ow! My bear. The gang's all here. Okay. I don't think anybody is going to be offended by the reboot considering that we all grew up with the show. I feel like the biggest problem with the reboot season is that the whole thing with Granddad or the situation with the boys' parents. When it comes to the reboot, the Boondocks is a satire. I feel like so many people don't seem to understand that. They don't seem to comprehend that. That's the entire point of the Boondocks, saying if the Boondocks came out today, none of this shit would slide. And I was like, no, because back then, a lot of the uproar about the Boondocks then is a lot of shit that y'all just recycling now. Okay, the Boondocks is a satire and that's what a lot of people seem to get with this show, that they miss it. And people be like, yeah, y'all excuse Riley for his behavior and this and that and the third, including Ruckus. And I was like, do y'all not realize that Ruckus and Riley are like the joke of the show? Ruckus and Riley are, you know, us making fun of those kind of people within our community. Like, I just feel like a lot of people just miss a lot of the points when it comes to the Boondocks. That's why a lot of us were talking about how we feel the Boondocks came back, because, you know, it literally is coming back. And we were just like, I'm excited for it, but at the same time, we're just going to be having those people that just don't seem to get it. Just be annoying. Like, I've said this before, but a lot of people are just not smart enough to watch this show. And that's okay. Like, there's just certain things that you're just not gonna get because they're not for you. A lot of y'all are just not smart enough to watch the Boondocks. Like, I'm not even trying to say that to sound mean or anything, but that's literally what it is when I see all of this discourse on Twitter where people are missing the points and shit like that. I'm like, yeah, y'all just don't get it. Many fans in the show tend to overlook Huey's flaws and are quick to deem himself as a Jesus-like figure. Like, yes, he is usually portrayed as the only sane one and the voice of reason, but there are plenty of flaws in his personality and has even made mistakes from time to time. Oh yeah, Huey can be a complete dickhead sometimes, okay? I'm not gonna sit here and act like Huey is uber duper perfect and that he's the best out here, because I remember, like, in middle school, that's when I started watching the Boondocks, and I really did enjoy Huey for who he was, like, as a person. Like, he was extremely smart. Like, I would not be the person who I am today if I didn't discover Huey Freeman at the age of 11 years old, okay? But I did used to be like that when I was in middle school, where I felt like Huey could do no wrong. But then once I got to high school, Huey did start to annoy me because I felt as if he had this holier than thou mentality. He felt as if he was better than everybody because he thought a certain way and he knew things that a lot of people didn't know. Like, that's one thing that got on my damn nerves about Huey, is because he acted like he was so much smarter than everybody because so many people just simply didn't know the things that he knew, okay? Like, I can't stand people like that. They try to make you feel stupid for genuinely just not knowing something. And also, it kind of annoys me in the Boondocks how mean he could be to Jazmine sometimes. Like, I just kind of did not appreciate that. He could just be a big dickhead sometimes. And then I would just be like, it didn't annoy me with the way he treated Riley, because Riley was just fucking annoying. And you can see that he genuinely did still care for his brother. And he did care for Granddad too at the same time. But a lot of times it felt as if Huey was talking down to Riley and Jazmine and Huey instead of talking at them like people. He just kind of felt like a lot of people were like beneath him. And a lot of these little black activists be like that too. Like, it's just activists in general. I really noticed that a lot of feminists do this too. A lot of people like speak down on people like they're beneath them. And I'm like, don't do that. Please don't. And I get it. It like takes a lot of time to like unlearn that behavior, because when I was in high school, I was like that, where I would get like, I'd be like, oh, that's not right, don't do this, yada yada, and like talking down to like my classmates in class, mainly like my male classmates that were very ignorant on the subject of racism. I felt, yeah, I was in the wrong for like talking down to them like they were stupid for the most part. But now I look back at it, I really should have talked to them as humans, and if they wanted to get it, if they didn't, then did not, and just going about my day. So I get where this person is saying, because I was like that at one point. I think the writers missed a huge opportunity by not addressing Cesar in the show. Cesar was the person who challenged Huey's extreme views, and without that foil in the show, paints Huey's almost perfect light. Oh, of course, the main reason Huey's flaws are now being pointed out is because a lot of us, like the viewers of the show, the fans of the show, we are a lot like Michael Cesar. Michael Cesar basically is Huey's friend that was in the comics. I really highly recommend y'all read the Boondocks comics, okay? I really do enjoy them. They're really, really funny. They have a lot of heart to them. You get to see a lot more characters that were like brief in the show. They're a lot more present in the comic, especially when it comes to Jazmine. I made an entire video on that. Like, I enjoyed Jazmine in the comic way more than I did in the show, but I still did enjoy him in the show a lot, okay? Cindy in the comic is honestly a lot better. Riley is about the same, but Michael really was like the person that kind of like kept Huey down here from thinking that he is holier than thou, because like the person said right here, Michael challenged him and be like, you honestly shouldn't do that because that's not right. Hey, maybe don't talk about it in this kind of way, but be more like that. Yeah. The reason why Huey is finally being called out for being like kind of annoying is because we literally are the new Cesar. Like, the audience, a lot of the younger audience per se, is Cesar. By the way, I'm not reading all of these because a lot of you guys kind of like said the same things. And some of these I'm not sure on how to respond to them, so don't like take it to heart if I don't like read yours. It's just I either was unsure of how to answer that, or you just said something that somebody else said. I like this one right here. I was kind of relieved that the show didn't have many black female characters in a prominent role other than one-off background experience, since the writers would probably treat them horribly. Yeah. The Boondocks, one of the main issues when it comes to the Boondocks is that it's just black men working on this show. Straight black men specifically. They are the main people that work on the Boondocks, along with white people and things like that. I looked and I did see that there were a few women that work on the show, mainly doing the voice work. But for the most part, the Boondocks is mostly male dominated, specifically black straight men. Yeah, that's like the people that are making this series. And it always did bother me when I watched the Boondocks, because I started to notice this when I watched Atlanta on FX, because I noticed that Atlanta and the Boondocks both share a similar problem, and they both treat black women horribly. Both of those shows treat black women like absolute ass crack, okay? Like, anytime we saw a black woman that was introduced in the Boondocks, she was either like ignorant as fuck, extremely over the top, she was annoying, she was a bad person, or she was just too perfect, like Ebony Brown. I really did like Ebony Brown, but she was just too perfect. She was just very, very bland, very, very dull. And the thing about it is that it's not even just black women in this show, it's just women in general. This show just did not do a good job of writing them. I personally think Jazmine was the best written female character, and that's not really saying much because she wasn't really in it that much as a lot of people remembered. They just played a lot of the episodes that she was in a lot of the times, okay? This show just does a really, really bad job of portraying women in general, but specifically with black women, it is just fucking laughable. I'm like, are y'all serious? Are y'all serious? I'm a fan of the Boondocks, but the way they portray black women, it's honestly very disturbing. They're either like full on hotep, or like they say, this show has a big homophobia problem also, especially that entire episode where they were making fun of a sex worker. The Boondocks is just bad when it comes to the way they tackle issues that deal with black women specifically, okay? And that's why a lot of people were like, do y'all even want to be in a show like this? And we were like, I don't even know how I feel about that, because you can tell if there was like a black female version of the Boondocks, who knows? Because literally Atlanta FX is so similar to the Boondocks, but if Atlanta FX was about black women, how would that show be perceived, okay? Like, I've noticed that part of the reason why so many non-black people watch the Boondocks is because the show focuses on black men. And that is just one thing that I have noticed in Hollywood, that they are able to sell stories about black men a lot better than they sell stories about black women. So it's just kind of weird. Okay, Jazmine isn't as annoying as people make her out to be. She acts like any other 8 or 10-year-old, and I wish they could have more importance than her just being Huey's friend. Like I said, go read the comics. Jazmine, way better character over there, okay? People would complain saying she was annoying, but I didn't mind her all that much. Maybe because I acted a lot like that when I was her age. But I didn't mind Jazmine in the show. I wish they could have did more with her, because she was just kind of there half the time and they didn't know what to do with her. Her character in the comic is just much better, but in the show she's not really bad, she's just there. Okay, y'all have a lot of Sarah slandering here, by the way, as y'all should. I just don't like Sarah, y'all. I never liked Sarah when I was a kid and I started watching this show. And now that I am an adult, I dislike her even more. Sarah is a fucking bitch. Like, I don't like her. I think I just genuinely don't like women like her in general. That's why I just can't fucking stand her. But Tom deserves a lot better than Sarah. He definitely has his flaws as a character, but I felt like people don't talk about the abuse he goes through coming from Sarah, and she definitely feeds into the paranoia that he has. I honestly think it's because he's a man and it's not taken seriously. Yes, Sarah is just fucking terrible, okay? The only reason why I think that Tom stays with Sarah for the most part is for the sake of his daughter, and that is the reason why a lot of people do stay in relationships, because they have kids with these people, okay? Sarah was fucking terrible, okay? I just genuinely do not like her. I personally think she was a little bit worse in the comic, but we didn't really see too much of her in the comic as we did in the show. I really just did not like Sarah, okay? She's just really fucking irritating. I don't know how many times that I have said that, but I don't like this woman. I genuinely do not, okay? And I am glad that so many other people are finally starting to see that she literally is the real villain, one of the real villains in this series, because she is just... The thing about Sarah is that she's really nice nasty. She is very, very nice nasty. She tries to come off like she's a very sweet woman, but she's actually very dirty on the inside. Like, I just don't appreciate her. And I remember it was something, because people will be talking about how Jazmine's hair looks a mess and shit like that. I personally think her hair looks cute, but you know, people would say Jazmine's hair looks a mess. And I was like, the reason why Jazmine's hair looks a mess is because Sarah didn't even try to take the time out of her day to fucking learn how to do it. She did not take the time out of her day to learn how to do her half black baby's hair. Like, that is just disgusting. Like, I personally think she's not good to Tom. Like, that's part of the reason why I think she sucks. Because I'm like, girl, you really did not take the time out of your day to learn how to do your half black child's hair? Like, that annoys me. Like, that's just something that I just can't stand, okay? I do appreciate those white women that do have biracial kids, and they do take the time out of their day to learn how to do their daughter's hair and learn how to do their son's hair and things like that, because they know that this is different for them, and it's like a bit of a culture shock because they're dealing with something that they never really had to deal with. But it just annoyed me how Sarah did not take the time out of her day to figure out how to do Jazmine's hair. Like, that entire situation where they were talking about they've been trying to figure out how to straighten Jazmine's hair and this and that and the third, and I'm like, why can't y'all just help her take care of it while it's all big and curly like that? Like, her hair's not ugly. Because I remember Huey even pointed out to Tom in the comment talking about there's nothing wrong with Jazmine's hair, y'all just don't want to take the time to learn how to do it. Like, I'm sorry, y'all. Like, the entire Jazmine hair situation is something that just pisses me off when it comes to this series, and Sarah is part to blame for it, okay? Like, a lot of y'all don't like Ruckus, and a lot of y'all don't like Sarah. I don't give a fuck about either of them. Okay, I feel like they tried to make Ruckus too much of an important character. I get that he's supposed to be a satire, but there were times where he was just really, really annoying. They should just focus on the kids. I'm not a fan of Ruckus. Ruckus reminds me of when they make spin-off movies and shows of like side characters that genuinely just work as side characters. Uncle Ruckus focused episodes are my least favorite of the show. It's but like the Stink Meter episodes and the Ruckus episodes are my least favorite kind of episodes when it comes to the Boondocks. I can only handle Uncle Ruckus in doses. Like I've said about like Chad from Descendants and like Lila from Miraculous Ladybug. They're annoying ass villains, but they come in every once in a while and I'm like, okay, I just don't want to see a whole too much of them, okay? I can just handle Ruckus in just doses. Like, if he come in at the beginning of the episode and then come back at the end, that is fine with me. He make little small appearances throughout the episode, but the ones where it's just focused on him is where the show just truly falls flat, okay? Because Ruckus, you know, he is there to make fun of, you know, the uncle type of black man, you know, the extremely self-hating black man, okay? That's literally what Uncle Ruckus means. He is an over-exaggeration of that, but getting too much of that in one sitting, in one 22-minute segment, it's annoying. Like, it's just not even funny no more. With Riley, we see that Riley will never be Ruckus, okay? He is nothing like Ruckus whatsoever, okay? These black men in the Boondocks, they represent the different kinds of black men within the black community. And when we had Riley focused episodes, we saw that Riley did still have heart to him. He still did care about the black community and things like that. He was just very... Riley did things for attention, okay? But Ruckus, he genuinely just hated black people, and nobody want to sit and watch that shit for a whole half hour. Tom, in my opinion, I enjoyed Tom Center episodes, even though Tom was another version of the self-hating black man. But he was like the more acceptable self-hating black man, if that makes sense. But Ruckus, I can't do Ruckus. I'm sorry. Riley isn't the comedic genius some fans think he is. He definitely does have his moments to shine, but a lot of his jokes are just homophobic and repetitive. The purpose of Riley being funny is so we could laugh at him for being so ignorant. Some people take a lot of what Riley does and what he says a little bit too personally. And I'm like, y'all, Riley is funny because he's a whole fool. We make fun of people like him, okay? A lot of the shit he does and a lot of the shit he says is just unacceptable. But that's like the joke. That's literally the joke. We're supposed to be there to laugh at him. We're not laughing with him. But you know, people that don't understand this show are over here laughing with him. And I'm like, no. Like I said, a lot of people are just not smart enough for the show. Yeah, you guys have said a lot of the same opinions. So I'm just trying not to repeat them because these unpopular opinion videos can get really long. Okay, I like this one because a lot of y'all are just kind of like saying the same things that I said over and over again. The Boondocks is not peak, nor is it the only black animation out there. Example, Black Dynamite. This show earns its flowers, but regardless by fans, it is not the only one of its kind. I agree. The Boondocks is like, when people talk about a black animated series, the first thing that comes to mind is the Boondocks. But we do have to appreciate that if it weren't for the Boondocks, the Boondocks and the Proud Family, I gotta give those two its flowers. And we did not have the Boondocks or the Proud Family, we most likely would not have any of these other shows, these animated series that focus solely on black people. Like, there most likely would be no Craig of the Creek. there will most likely, you know, there would not be the Proud Family Louder and Prouder, the reboot that it is getting. A lot of these series that animated series that focus on black people, we have to give our flowers to them when they're due, like when it comes to the Proud Family and the Boondocks. But people act as if like the Boondocks is like the holy grail of black animation, and yes, I do get why people say that, because the Boondocks is great, but it's also a big product of its time, and because it's a product of its time, a lot of shit that happened back then is not okay now. Like the Proud Family. The Proud Family is extremely dated. It has a lot of fucking issues that would be unacceptable by today's standards. That's why I do like Craig the Creek, because I don't, like I said, I don't care about all that creek shit, but when it's like the stuff with the family and just the people, it's a genuinely good black show, a genuinely good black cartoon. Like, there are plenty of other black cartoons out there, but when it comes to like the ones that are the best, I personally think it's Craig the Creek, the Boondocks, and the Proud Family. Those three right there are kind of like peak black animation, because I have seen plenty of other black animated series and they're just not up to par with those three in my opinion. But we gotta stop acting like the Boondocks is like the only one there sometimes, because people act like that's the only black cartoon, where sometimes you can just tell they didn't even go to try to look for other stuff. And yes, I have tried to go and look for other like black cartoons and I genuinely didn't like them. But the Boondocks is great. Like, it looks amazing. It is a great show. It's funny. It has heart. Like, it's like the whole package right there, okay? The Boondocks is amazing, but we gotta stop acting like nothing will top the Boondocks when it comes to black animation. That's why I tell people we gotta take chances on, like, you know, the independent productions, because there's a lot of indie productions out here that love the Boondocks and they want to make black cartoons and things like that, but it's just so hard for people to get their work out there. It's just very complicated when it comes to like the black cartoon community when we get on subjects like this. Oh dear, someone said I agree with the other ones. Tom wife don't love his ass. Y'all are funny, okay? Y'all are freaking funny. Y'all are really funny. Okay, I like this one right here. This probably isn't unpopular, but it really grinds my gears knowing that non-black people watch this show and laugh at it, because what the fuck is funny? I also hate when black people watch the show uncritically and don't take everything as satire, which it is. It's a great show. There are a lot of misses, as any show. I've never read the comics, though I'm thinking about in the future. Okay. We did touch on a lot of what they said right here, but the main thing about that is that there's this big controversy where people are like, because I've genuinely asked this in my last video I made about the Boondocks last summer, and I was like, do y'all think, I was like, do non-black people watch the Boondocks? Let me know. A lot of people feel as if non-black people are not allowed to watch the Boondocks, and I'll say this. You can tell that the audience for the Boondocks was black people. They made a black show for black people. Like I said, when people talk about they watch Blackish, that is a black show for the general audience. That is a black show for everybody, specifically white people, to know about the black experience. That's why with Blackish, a lot of what they did felt very flat and it felt very PSA-y. A lot of things in Blackish just did not work simply because they were still trying to be acceptable enough for white people. Because I remember at one part where Blackish actually did go all the way there, they ended up having a lot of controversy with it, and then I think the episode did get pulled. But the Boondocks just genuinely did not give a fuck, okay? They literally go all the way there and then some, okay? This show, they were like, we are gonna make a black show strictly for black people to understand, and that's exactly what they did. And that's why so many people feel off-put when non-black people watch the Boondocks, because it's been very clear that this show was just made directly for black people. Like, anyone is available to watch, but they had black people in mind for that. And like any piece of media out here is available for everyone to watch, but because the Boondocks is one of those few things that is just made strictly for black people, that's why so many black people feel kind of off when non-black people watch it and then laugh at, like, you know how there's certain things within the community where it's like, I'm black, I can laugh at that, but you're not. You can't. You're not going to get it. This show does have a lot of that in that, and non-black people do laugh at that stuff. So it's just kind of like, The subject about non-black people watching the Boondocks has just been like a big talk within like the last few years alone. I personally think non-black people should watch the Boondocks because yes, y'all need to watch black shows. Y'all need to engage in art that is just not strictly white. I do believe in that. But also it's just kind of like, know your limits, know your boundaries, respect them. If Cindy were a black girl, she would have been a hated character. Okay, we need to talk about that right there. Because the purpose of Cindy being white, Cindy would not exist if she was white. Like, I think that's one thing a lot of people don't seem to get about Cindy. They're like, why they make Cindy white? Cindy was always white. She was white in the comic. She was annoying as shit. She represents those white women that are like so into black culture to the point where it's annoying and it comes off as, okay girl, you need to calm down. Why are you trying to pretend to be another race? Why do you think you're blacker than me because you listen to fucking Snoop Dogg? Like, it's just weird shit like that. That is the purpose of Cindy's character. Cindy was never, they never had any intention of that girl being white, okay? And it's funny because in the comic, Cindy and Jazmine were like close, like they were like friends, but in the comic, you can see that they were friendly towards each other, but they didn't really interact that much for the most part. There would be no Cindy McPherson if Cindy McPherson were not, if she were black. Like, she would not exist. Like, I kind of hate that argument where people try to say, y'all would have hated so-and-so character if they were black. I'm like, why do y'all even want to think about stuff like that? I just can't stand that. Because a lot of these characters that y'all say, oh, y'all would have hated them if they were black, they never had the intention on making that character black in the first place. Like, I just can't, that's just something that just bothers me. Because somebody tried to say something about Irma from Witch, because I said Irma was my favorite character in Witch, and somebody was like, oh, you would have hated her if she was black. Why do y'all say this shit? Because a lot of this y'all stay saying it's the characters that they had no intention being black for the most part, okay? That's just something that just really annoys me. That's just something I really think y'all just kind of need to be a little bit more cautious with when y'all say. But there's just no, the purpose of Cindy being the way she is, it wouldn't make sense if she were black, okay? Like, if Cindy were black, we would just kind of ignore her. The reason why Cindy is an iconic part of this character, of this show, is because she's like portrayal of like white people that we really did not see much of at the time on television. And that was those white people that are just freaking culture vultures. They are very into black culture. They think they black because they are very into black media and things like that. That is the purpose of her character. Oh yeah, the Boondocks is homophobic, by the way. I agree. Like, okay, it's weird because the Boondocks has had time where they handle homophobia great, and then there are times where they handled it terribly, okay? It's either they hit it one time and then the other time they missed it. So that's just pretty much all I'm gonna say when it comes to the homophobia in the Boondocks, because yes, they did a good job of handling it, and then other times it was just like, that is not okay. You missed the entire mark and that is offensive. Like, that last episode of the show is just genuinely that bad. It's so terrible. And that's pretty much all you guys have right now for this Boondocks video, okay? Because I realized a lot of you guys were just repeating a lot of the same things that other people were saying, which isn't a bad thing. I'm glad that we all can see eye to eye on when it comes to this series, because this show does have issues. I don't know how I feel right now about the reboot coming, because they are taking forever for it to come out, to the point where I just don't care no more. If something just ever takes so long to come out where you just don't care no more. That's how I feel about Stranger Things. It's taking so long. But those 45 episodes that the Boondocks has, it's literally what the show is known for. And even when they come out with new episodes, people are still going to refer to those first 45. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this nice little unpopular opinions video that I decided to do. You guys like to support me. I have Buy Me a Coffee, and I also have a Ko-fi. Those are my donation links. I also have a Patreon. Most expensive tier is $5 and the cheapest is $1. Don't forget to follow me on everything at Harriyanna, HARRIYANNA. Those are my only socials. My other Instagrams are harriyannahook, and what is that other one? The Progenies. Those are my only 3. I have 4 Instagrams. That's it. Everything only is at Harriyanna. I have a web show called The Progenies. That will be linked down below. Don't forget to follow me on everything. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good night. 'Cause I work hard to get to this point in my life. I'm blowing up, so don't hate. Just congratulate. Powerpuff Girls.
Bubbles will just blow your mind. Buttercup like villains 3 at a time. Bubbles will smile while kicking your butt, and Blossom will lead them out of their rut. Cherish and Powerpuff, 2 of a kind. Both wanna save the world before bedtimes. From Townsville, Memphis, New York to LA, the Powerpuff Girls are just here to stay. They coming through and fighting, and everyone they shocking. You know no one can stop them all because of the chemical X. They coming through and fighting, and everyone they shocking. You know no one can stop them all because of the chemical X. They coming through and fighting, and everyone they shocking. You know no one can stop them all because of the chemical X. They coming through and fighting, and everyone they shocking. You